We're back in our program Inside Bicol, and our guest here is an authority on business investment here in the Bicol area. He's a former regional governor of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, former president of the Metro Naga Chamber of Commerce, also the representative, private sector representative to the Regional Development Council. So in effect, it's really a wide scope about the business opportunities here. So we'd like to welcome our guest here, Beda Prela, very much active in the business community. Welcome, Beda, to our program on Inside Bicol here on GNN TV.
Thank you very much, Fred, and good evening to our viewers of this program, Inside Bicol.
Okay. I know for a fact that you are very much aware about business climate opportunities here. So the first question I'd like to ask is that, what do you think should be the role of the Bicol region in the overall development of the country?
Well, this was discussed in the Regional Development Council, and it was agreed upon that the following will be the roles of the Bicol region in the total Philippine economy and in the development of the Philippine economy. First, Bicol will serve as the geothermal energy producer. As it is now, Bicol region supplies the Luzon grid, is the major supplier of electricity to the Luzon grid, and as a matter of fact, we have two geothermal sources. One is our Tiwi geothermal, and the other one is Bacon Magnito. And if you will just remember, during the last big typhoon Riming, we were cut off for a number of days, or the whole region was cut off, and this affected the entire Luzon grid. And so therefore, this is one of the dominant role that the Bicol region is playing. Second, we would like to be an agri-industrial center. Definitely, we know that the Bicol region is predominantly agricultural, but there are opportunities to go agribusiness, agro-industrial, and a lot of potentials are present, remains to be untapped, and I guess investments are just awaited. The third very important role that I have been espousing ever since is that the Bicol region should now realize the fact that it can be the food basket of Luzon. Well, you see, Fred, we used to say that the Bicol region, despite its agricultural potentials, cannot develop agriculturally because of the typhoons. But well, they said, kumita na yan eh. No, it's been the reason for so many years, and but by this time we should now know how to deal with the typhoons. And if you will look at it, we're no longer visited by so much typhoons, only periodically, and during that time, other regions are now visited in place of Bicol. So if you look at Luzon, it's what used to be the food supplier of Luzon, Southern Tagalog, is now being converted into industrial zone. If you go north, Central Luzon, well, it's no longer the rice granary because it has been devastated by Mount Pinatubo. They're trying to recoup. Region 1, you cannot depend on Region 1. Region 2 is actually the source of, the only other competitor of Bicol. But the thing is, it's now the one visited by the typhoons. So where will Luzon get its food? Right now, Luzon is getting its food from Mindanao. But if we will be able to just put our acts together and develop our agriculture, focus on agricultural potentials, we can very well be the food basket of Luzon. We're very near. As a matter of fact, there are occasions when they don't have any livestock anymore in Southern Tagalog, they run to Bicol. And we are actually supplying, and poultry, eggs are from Bicol.
Okay. So it seems that what you've just described is that Bicol is strategically located, in a situation that we can have all these opportunities.
Indeed.
Okay. Now, What could be the reason why, despite Bicol having its advantage, and yet we have not seen much of what is expected? Do you think the different provincial government are ready to, have this to meet some of the expectation of the investors? Are our infrastructure facilities ready?
As I was going to say, as an answer, basically the reason is, the lack of priorities given on infrastructure for Bicol. Well, one thing, the PNR has not been given the due attention, the due priority. We know, well, you know, and myself knows that Bicol before was was only connected to Manila via the railways, and those years were even glorious days for Bicol because we could easily transport our food to Divisoria, the agricultural products, and in return they bring in commodities from the Divisoria at least at a very cheap cost, because trains are very efficient, least cost of transport. Now, if we can bring back the service again, not only the transport, the passenger service, but as well as the freight service, this will help a lot. So that's one. Irrigation. Well, the last time that we had a major irrigation project here in the Bicol region was during the Bicol River Basin program. That was the martial law years. But no other presidents except for Marcos really gave, despite the fact that the votes of Bicol were given to a lot of presidents, but we were never given the right priority in terms of infrastructure.
I'd like to catch you on that, on the Bicol River Basin, because, a lot of people know that when the new administration came in, the Bicol River Basin was abolished. Now, I'd like to get your position on that. Is there a need to continue this? What do you think should be the best?
I think there should be one concerted program, as just like what happened during the martial law years, the Bicol River Basin Development Program. It was via integrated area development, a concept whereby you take into consideration not only infra, agriculture, but even social services, altogether looking at an area on a multifaceted way, so that you come up with programs that are complementary with one another. Now, I think we would like to have another one of a concerted effort. As a matter of fact, NEDA has been trying to do that, try to put together a program similar to that of but the previous one that was implemented under the so-called BRBDP concept, it was actually focused on watershed protection plus a little infrastructure for the main purpose of just protecting the watershed so that it can minimize the flooding. But I guess what is important, an important infrastructure that has to be done is the implementation of the master flood control, which was planned before, whereby this will actually answer to the flooding in the river in the basin area, which is the most fertile agricultural area in Camarines Sur and in Albay. So I guess, well, as we have experienced, Bebeng showed us again, how flooding can with so much rain, how flooded can there be? You can see the marriage of Lakes
Right.
Batu and Baao,
Right.
and affects the entire Rinconada area. Now, that can be solved. We had chances, but well, I hope it doesn't
Right.
hurt anybody. Instead of the Lago del Rey, it would have been, it should have been constructed in Lake Baao. They should have defined the Lake Baao and use it not only for as water impounding facility, a flood water impounding facility, but at the same time for sports.
I remember one time in one of our discussions with the World Bank that there was an interest on the part of the World Bank to fund the river basin, the total project. But one of the things that they were suggesting is that they want the river basin to be converted into an authority.
Indeed.
Because they do believe that if it's an authority created by law, there will be continuity. Because, they're worried that when
Of
new
course.
administration comes
course.
in, there are changes in priority.
That is
Right.
a very ideal. That's a very ideal ideal thing to do. I would say if that can be done, so much the better.
Right.
So much the better, because there can indeed be and a continuity, and the program itself or the authority itself will can do implementation. It's its own implementation, not necessarily passing it to the line agencies. What the authority can do is stop the agencies, no, get the agencies involved in the implementation, overseen, controlled, and managed by the authority.
So perhaps there's a need for the new administration, also on the local leadership, to focus on that
Yes.
issue, no?
I guess the good experiences, although I must accept there were bad experiences, but you know, good practices, good experiences can be used and built on, so that we can continue the development.
That's true. So I think these are issues which I believe that the new administration should now focus. They're really, serious on developing. Now, the next question I'd like to ask is that each provinces have their own investment incentive program. How well prepared are they, and what are the priorities? Let's say in Albay, in Camarines Sur, what are they focusing on?
Well, Fred, I'm very happy about this about this guide, no, because this is a product. This is actually a product of what was started in the RDC for the Bicol region to come up with its investment guide.
Okay.
No, and you can see here. You will be able to see here what investment priorities have been identified in the different provinces and cities in the region. Now, like for example, in Albay, the priorities that has been identified is there are investment priority areas includes a silvipasture development program, industrial forest, plantation and agroforestry development, the Pulangi upland and the resources development program. Now in Camarines Norte, we know for a fact that it's the area where you can find the sweetest pineapple anywhere else. It's even better than that of Del Monte, no? And I guess these are the priority areas. They include is that this can already be they have already attempts to export this product, no, to process this and export this. Well, and not to number the investment priorities identified here includes establishment of pineapple plantation, the some tourism like development of the Bagasbas beach. There are a number of beaches, development of the Labo mini hydro, which will also augment the electricity in that area. Now in Camarines Sur, of course, we have seen so much the role that Camarines Sur has played in terms of attracting tourists and investors. Of course, congratulations to our governor for putting Camarines Sur in the tourism map. But aside from that, there are other things that can be done to further sustain this tourism beachhead that has been done. And I think we have to improve on our agricultural and livestock in the area in Camarines Sur. Of course, they included here is the Camarines Sur Agro-Industrial Economic Zone, the Camarines Sur Hag Estate, establishment of the 10 megawatt solar farm down the line. No? A number of priorities are listed here in this guide, which has been prioritized by the different provinces. So I just named a number, indicated a number, and this is to indicate how ready the provinces and the cities are to accept investors.
Okay. The next question I'd like to ask is that, okay, the bottom line of this, all of this is money.
Definitely.
Finance. Do we have any sources? Are the banks, are the government ready to provide funding in order to this?
Indeed, a number of banks, I mean even foreign banks, are interested to go into this. I understand. Each of the provinces are now negotiating with different. I understand. Albay is hot with the Spanish assistance, with the Spanish investments. Catanduanes is also likewise coming up with their own arrangements as to the investors that will come in and invest in these areas that has been identified. And that's why the climate we have now is in the region is that it is indicatively ready. Now, I would just want to emphasize that, political oneness, political unity is also important, so that this region can once and for all move. It's just very unfortunate that we have the best of politicians. We come up with the best political figures and even the political leaders, but the failure probably, or the weakness, is the inability to unify us as a region.
So it seems that the discussion is becoming more interesting, especially when you talk about politics. We'll pause for a few minutes, then we'll come back. So don't go away.